Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Guildhall Square in the heart of historic Derry. The cameras and the eyes of the world are on us as we gather here in a time of hope and resurgence. Let us show the world how this city welcomes its guests as we invite to the platform the President and the First Lady of the United States of America, Bill and Hillary Clinton. Also with the President today are Secretary of State Sir Patrick Mayhew and Lady Mayhew, John Hume, MP, MEP, and his wife Pat, the Mayoress, Mrs. Carita Kerr, and our first citizen, the Mayor of Derry, Councillor John Kerr.
On this magnificent day for Northern Ireland, and in particular for this ancient and historic walled city of Derry, I, as the Mayor, representing the Aldermen, Councillors and the entire people of Derry City Council area, welcome the President and the First Lady of the United States of America, Bill and Hillary Clinton today. In a minute. You'll get Bill in a minute. No problem. No problem. Just a few formalities. I would also like to welcome to Derry the United States Ambassador to Britain, Mr. William Crowe, and Mrs. Cathy Stevenson, the Consul General of the United States Consulate in Belfast, the Lord Lieutenant James Eaton and Lucy Eaton, Britain's ambassador to the United States, and wait for it, Sir John Kerr and Lady Kerr. Doesn't it sound good? We are also honored to have with us today a delegation from the United States Congress led by the Honourable James Walsh. We are also very happy to welcome to Derry the recently appointed Director of the International Agency on Decommissioning of Arms, the Honourable George Mitchell. Céad míle fáilte romh a háide go dara Columkill. Mr. President, we, the people of Derry, welcome you to our beloved city. With the expression of our deepest respect and esteem for you personally. Your distinguished career as the leader of a great people and nation whom with us in Ireland are so closely linked and identified, has been watched with interest from the moment you so generously and voluntarily offered your services towards perfecting peace and reconciliation in Ireland. All of us thank you most sincerely for your efforts over the past months and pray to God that your deliberations, in accord with others on these islands, will bring about a truly just and lasting peace for which we all yearn. We all would re-echo your own words of yesterday outside number 10 Downing Street when you said, "In the end, peace means peace, and we all are going to have to support that." Mr. President, you are very, very welcome today, and may I wish you Godspeed in your journey of peace and reconciliation around Ireland. May your efforts be crowned with success, and it was a deep sense of historic moment, Mr. President, that I thank you and the First Lady for being with us today in Derry. Thank you. And before you get Bill, could I ask one very important person to come to the podium and address you for a few minutes? And could I call upon John Hume, MP, MEP.
Right. Mr. President and Mrs. Clinton, as you can see from the people of Derry, you're very, very welcome here today. And the reason that we're all gathered in our streets today to say thank you to President Clinton and Mrs. Clinton and their administration is because, as I know from my regular meetings with himself and his staff, peace in our land has been central to the President's policy from the day he was elected, and we on our streets who know for the past 25 years what the absence of peace has meant are deeply grateful for the President of the United States to have put our problems at the top of his agenda and for the enormous effort that he has put into bringing peace into our country. We are also grateful that he's visiting this historic city, one of the most historic cities in these islands. But it's a city whose history has very strong and very powerful links with the United States of America. Where we stand, behind us in that river, 150 years ago this very day, this very year, when famine struck our land, because of our geography and our location as a harbour, one of the closest harbours to America, thousands upon thousands of our starving people left to emigrate and lay the foundations of Irish America. Secondly, because of our geography, during the Second World War, historically, this city was base number 1 of the American Navy. And in this city, out in that bay, the U-boats surrendered to the American Navy at the end of the war. Our links with America are powerful and strong, but today they are even more powerful because this is the most historic day in the history of this city when President and Mrs. Clinton arrive here to strengthen and develop those links. Because today, those links, we want them to develop strongly. We already have them developing with a presence in our city of companies like DuPont, Fruit of the Loom, Seagate, United Technologies, and this very week, Stream International, because President Clinton has committed himself to helping us economically and giving hope to our young people. And he has appointed Senator Mitchell as his special economic envoy. And as we know, the economic problems that we have unite all sections of our people. And as all sections of our people work together to build our country rather than destroy it, with the full and positive support of President Clinton, then we will build a new land. And as we move towards the next century, which is only 5 years away, let it be our dream, and it's a dream that we will achieve with the powerful assistance of the President and his administration and the senators and congressmen who are here today. That dream is that we will have a land in the next century where for the first time in our history there will be no killing in our streets and no emigration of our young people to other lands. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mrs. Clinton. Welcome to Derry, and a special word of welcome as well to our good friends from the Senate and Congress who have built the Friends of Ireland movement in the Senate and Congress over the year and have been great friends to this part of the world. They are all here today. They're all very welcome, and could I now ask the Mayor to come back and perform a very special task?
Could I introduce to you the President of the United States to say a few words?
You're very, very welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, Mrs. Keir, Mr. and Mrs. Hume, Sir Patrick and Lady Mayhew, and to this remarkable crowd. Let me say that there have been many presidents of the United States who had their roots in this soil. I can see today how lucky I am to be the first President of the United States to come back to this city to say thank you very much. Hillary and I are proud to be here in the home of Ireland's most tireless champion for civil rights and its most eloquent voice of nonviolence, John Hume. I know that at least twice already I have had the honor of hosting John and Pat in Washington, and the last time I saw him I said, "You can't come back to Washington one more time until you let me come to Derry." And here I am. I am delighted to be joined here today by a large number of Americans, including a distinguished delegation of members of our United States Congress who have supported peace and reconciliation here and who have supported economic development through the International Fund for Ireland. I'm also joined today by members of the O'Neill family. Among the last great chieftains of Ireland were the O'Neills of Ulster. But in America, we still have chieftains who are the O'Neills of Boston. They came all the way over here to inaugurate the Tip O'Neill Chair in Peace Studies here at the University of Ulster. This chair will honor the great Irish American and late Speaker of the House of Representatives, by furthering his dream of peace in Northern Ireland, and I am honored to be here with his family members today. All of you know that this city is a very different place from what a visitor like me would have seen just a year and a half ago, before the ceasefire. Crossing the border now is as easy as crossing a speed bump. The soldiers are off the streets, the city walls are open to civilians. There are no more shakedowns as you walk into a store. Daily life has become more ordinary, but this will never be an ordinary city. I came here because you are making a home for peace to flourish and endure. A local climate responsible this week for the announcement of new business operations that offer significant new opportunities to you, as well as new hope. Let me applaud also the success of the Inner City Trust and Patty Doherty, who have put people to work rebuilding bombed-out buildings, building new ones, and building up confidence and civic pride. America's connections to this place go back a long, long time. One of our greatest cities, Philadelphia, was mapped out 3 centuries ago by a man who was inspired by the layout of the streets behind these walls. His name was William Penn. He was raised a Protestant in Ireland, in a military family. He became a warrior and he fought in Ulster. But he turned away from warfare, traded in his armor, converted to the Quaker faith, and became a champion of peace. Imprisoned for his religious views, William Penn wrote one of the greatest defenses of religious tolerance in history. Released from prison, he went to America in the 1680s, a divisive decade here, and founded Pennsylvania, a colony unique in the New World because it was based on the principle of religious tolerance. Philadelphia quickly became the main port of entry for immigrants from the north of Ireland, who made the Protestant and Catholic traditions valuable parts of our treasured traditions in America. Today, when he travels to the States, John Hume is fond of reminding us about the phrase that Americans established in Philadelphia as the motto of our nation, a pluribus unum, out of many, one. The belief that back then Quakers and Catholics, Anglicans and Presbyterians could practice their religion, celebrate their culture, honor their traditions, and live as neighbors in peace. In the United States today, in just one county, Los Angeles, there are representatives of over 150 different racial, ethnic, and religious groups. We are struggling to live out William Penn's vision, and we pray that you will be able to live out that vision as well. Over the last 3 years, since I have had the privilege to be the President of the United States, I have had occasion to meet with nationalists and to meet with unionists and to listen to their sides of the story. I have come to the conclusion that here, as in so many other places in the world, from the Middle East to Bosnia, the divisions that are most important here are not the divisions between opposing views or opposing interests. Those divisions can be reconciled. The deep divisions, the most important ones, are those between the peacemakers and the enemies of peace. Those who deep, deep down inside want peace more than anything, and those who deep down inside can't bring themselves to reach out for peace. Those who are in the ship of peace and those who would sink it. Those who bravely meet on the bridge of reconciliation and those who would blow it up. My friends, Everyone in life at some point has to decide what kind of person he or she is going to be. Are you going to be someone who defines yourself in terms of what you are against or what you are for? Will you be someone who defines yourself in terms of who you aren't or who you are? The time has come for the peacemakers to triumph in Northern Ireland, and the United States will support them as they do. The world-renowned playwright from this city, Brian Friel, wrote a play called Philadelphia, Here I Come. In it, a character who is about to emigrate from Ireland thinks back on his past life and says to himself, "It's all over." But his alter ego reminds him of his future and replies, "And it's about to begin." It's all over, and it's about to begin. If only change were that easy. To leave one way of life behind in search of another takes a strong amount of faith and courage. But the world has seen here over the last 15 months that people from Londonderry County to County Down, from Antrim to Armagh, have made the transition from a time of ever-present fear to a time of fragile peace. The United States applauds the efforts of Prime Minister Major and Prime Minister Bruton, who have launched the new twin-track initiative and have opened a process that gives the parties a chance to begin a dialogue in which all views are represented and all can be heard. Not far from this spot stands a new statue of reconciliation, 2 figures 10 feet tall, each reaching out a hand toward the other, but neither quite making it across the divide. It is a beautiful and powerful symbol of where many people stand today in this great land. Let it now point people to the handshake of reconciliation. Life cannot be lived with the stillness of statues. Life must go on. The hands must come closer together or drift further apart. Your great Nobel Prize-winning poet, Seamus Heaney, wrote the following words. Wrote the following words that some of you must know already, but that for me capture this moment. He said, "History says, don't hope on this side of the grave. But then, once in a lifetime, the longed-for tidal wave of justice can rise up, and hope and history rhyme. So hope for a great sea change on the far side of revenge. Believe that a further shore is reachable from here. Believe in miracles and cures and healing wells." Well, my friends, I believe. I believe we live in a time of hope and history rhyming. Standing here in front of the Guildhall, looking out over these historic walls, I see a peaceful city, a safe city, a hopeful city, full of young people that should have a peaceful and prosperous future here where their roots and families are. That is what I see today with you. And so I ask you to build on the opportunity you have before you, to believe that the future can be better than the past, to work together because you have so much more to gain by working together than by drifting apart. Have the patience to work for a just and lasting peace. Reach for it. The United States will reach with you. The further shore of that peace is within your reach. Thank you, and God bless you all.